All right. Well, okay, you ready?
I think so. Got my water. I even have coffee.
That's right.
We are hydrated.
Sounds good. We're working on it. Anyway, hey, welcome everybody to another episode of
Living the Scream.
The behind the scenes of
The Mummy and the Monkey.
That's right. And your host today, as it always is
I'm Janet, also known as Janet Decay, the Mummy.
And I'm James, also known as Grimm Gorri, the Monkey. And that's our Mummy and the Monkey personas on our Mummy and the Monkey's Hairy Scary Hangout, where we host bad B movies every Friday night at 10 p.m. on our Facebook page, The Mummy and the Monkey.
Yeah, most Friday nights.
Yeah.
Last Friday, we did have to take the night off from entertaining because sometimes you have to help people.
Yeah, things go on in your life where you have to sometimes press the pause button, as it were, and that's cool. We did. That's the nice thing about doing our own show on our own schedule and our own time, is that we can take time if we need to attend to family and personal matters. In this case, we were helping out a friend of ours who actually we work with as well. Well, Janet, you help produce a show for him on YouTube.
Yes, our friend Pete, also known as 42nd Street Pete. He has a YouTube channel, 42nd Street Pete's Grindhouse Purgatory, and he also publishes a magazine called Grindhouse Purgatory Magazine. Yeah. So he has family that lives out of state, but he lives in Ohio and needed a friend to help him. He was getting a procedure done.
Yeah, and he needed, he needed some help around the house and things like that, and to watch his dogs. The dog sit his dogs.
Yes, babysitting the dogs.
Babysitting. The dogs are not babies. They're big babies.
Well, they're big 80-pound drooly babies, pit bull mixes, and very nice girls. They're super friendly. They want attention and cuddles all the time.
They don't. Yeah, I think they weigh 8 pounds.
Yeah.
But they're great. Now, once you, and that's the thing, is I sit there and I marvel at these two, beautiful animals that if they wanted to, at any time could just snap and just, chew your arm off. But they're just the biggest babies, and they're so great.
They are. They're very strong. Like, they have those jaws. Like, they've got those, like, pit bull kind of faces.
Solid bone heads and those teeth. I mean, they're, but, you can see, it's just sad that people sometimes take that or any animal and train it to be vicious, but they're not. I mean, they're just insanely beautifully funny and crazy. And again, they just think that they're these little, in their mind, they must just think that they're these like little dainty things that can jump in your lap and,
Yeah, they want to be
great.
lap dogs, but they are just these, these big drooly dogs. They're very sweet.
Yeah, but they're always on. That's the thing with any dog, is that they're always on. We have cats, and they're in your face too, but not as much as a dog is. I mean, dogs need a lot of attention.
Well, you have to make sure they go out to go potty, and with cats, it's like, okay, just scoop the box once or twice a day.
Well, yeah, the maintenance level is a lot lower with cats.
Yeah, it's more like taking care of a child with a dog. I think.
It's a lot of work. So kudos to anybody out there who owns a dog and takes care of them, because it is a lot of work. And just that one day pretty much burnt us out. We
were so tired. Yeah, we would drive over there to let them out, so we couldn't leave them alone too long.
So what does this have to do with the first half of our show, which is usually talking about reselling? Well, we managed to squeeze in some reselling adventures during our dog sitting duties to help out a friend, and we actually hit up a flea market that morning.
We did. Well,
the day before.
The day it
was a 2-day thing.
Yeah, the day we dropped our friend off to get the procedure done, we actually were looking up thrift stores in the area.
Yes.
And we found a Goodwill that we have never been to before, and then another smaller charity thrift store that we have never been to before.
The name of it?
And all were within, maybe 5 to 7 miles of where we had to go dog sit. So
it was fun to discover something new. They were smaller. The one charity store was bigger than the one the similar. It's Common Threads.
We went to a Common Threads thrift store, and I guess there's several of them in Northeast Ohio, and it's supposed to help people in need in the city. And
Well, a lot of them, yeah. Well, it's more,
it's more
focused on-
catered,
yeah.
more focused on, helping people in the Cleveland, like, urban areas.
And it has a religious sort, like a Christian sort of tinge to it as well. Like they have, it's like kind of steeped in, or has based in a Christian.
I mean, yeah, which is fine if that's, what,
Yeah, I'm just saying, but that's the kind of thrift store it was. So there,
Yeah,
there
it
is
had
some,
a little bit of a religious, but the idea is that they're helping people, so that's fine. So.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, anyway, I just bring that up to kind of paint a picture. Like some of them are, don't have any kind of like, because they would, some of the stuff they had was focused on like Christianity. They would have some stuff that is more that you could find in any thrift store, but there was a lot more material there slants towards it. But we did manage to find some cool stuff there. I thought anyway, like nothing crazy, no home runs, but some interesting stuff, and the prices were real low too.
Yeah, the prices are very reasonable, and everything was very clean and organized. I was actually very relieved to see, like, oh, a thrift store that's actually clean. Like it was organized very nice. They had really nice store displays. It was cute.
Well, cleanliness is close to godliness, so there you go.
Yeah,
took it to heart with that at that store. But no, it was a great store. Now they did have a jewelry case where they had some expensive stuff, like that Dooney and Burke bag, that Yankees bag for $100.
Yeah, that was out of my price range for reselling, but it was nice. It looked like brand new. It was some, I guess, hard to find Dooney and Burke bag they had for $100,
Yeah.
And some of those bags brand new could be for $500. So $100 for someone else might be a good deal.
Yeah.
It just wasn't for me for resale.
No, but so they do look stuff up. But anything I found there, I found a couple of like robot toys, an old Transformer based type of toy, a little owl animal that would turn into a robot, and it might be $15. I paid $2 for a bag of stuff, and it was in there. A couple of Def Leppard VHS concert type tapes from the late 80s. Pretty cool.
Yeah. So sometimes they have like old books and tapes that you might not find at other thrift stores.
Yeah, I found some books, like one for a cycling book that might go for like, $25.
Ooh.
It's 50 cents, and their books are like 50 cents. Again, all their media is real cheap.
Yeah, which is nice because some of the Goodwills around here up to the prices on their books to like $2 or $3 a book rather than 50 cents or $1.
Well, the Goodwills, some of them had a really cool $1 across the board for media, whether it was a DVD or CD or a book. It was like perfect.
I missed that.
Yeah, but anyway, so some of their stuff was rightly priced. I think we only spent like $20 there.
Yeah, I found a vintage milk glass piece there for only $1. I don't know what the value of it would be. I just thought it was cool because it looked really old. And then I found a little silver piece of jewelry there for maybe like $4.
Yeah.
So it was just nice to look, and we were able to kill some time that day.
Yeah, and that was the whole point, is to explore a little bit. But before that, we went to a Goodwill that we didn't know existed around that neighborhood, and it was okay. I mean, that's funny. I don't know how the Goodwill structure works. I should get to know how this works, because not all Goodwills are created equal. They have, are they franchisee or?
So Goodwill is a corporation, but each Goodwill like county is separated, and I'm not sure how that works exactly. But so in Northeast Ohio, there's Cuyahoga County, there's Medina County, and the Goodwills, based on what county they're in, will have a different setup, a different feel. They'll have a different like rewards program or donation program.
Yes.
And I noticed in the more rural, like the small country town or small towns, those Goodwills seem to be priced lower and have a different setup. The ones closer to the cities seem to be priced a little bit higher, in my opinion. So, yeah, but they are a corporation. They are corporate, but I think they run things different by the county or the environment they're in.
Yeah, and again, it's a little not confusing, but it's you just kind of wish that everything was sort of like rubber stamped, like
across the board,
like Savers. I think there's no difference in the Savers. They're very robotic, right? The couple that are here.
Yeah, the Savers, that's I think owned. Well, there used to be one called Unique Thrift, and then Savers bought them. And I think Savers, there's some in Canada, I thought, but it might be called something else. But that company owns thrift stores here, and I believe in Michigan, and then some in Canada.
Well, because again, there's a lot of inconsistency with the Goodwills. Let's say, for example, like you go in some and they have that media all $1 no matter what it was, and then you can go right to another one the same day and find one where it was all priced out differently. Like they have different sort of structures. It's not the same. Like with the Savers, it seems like everything is the same. The way they have everything laid out. Like you can go into and you can be blindfolded and knocked out and wake up in a different Savers and not know you're in it. Other than the structure itself or the layout, the pricing's all the same.
It's about the same. Yeah. But then you could go into some small town, middle of nowhere Goodwill, and the manager will run their own special. They'll be like, "Oh, all the furniture is half off today."
Yeah.
You know, they seem to have more freedom to do pricing like their own way in the small town Goodwills.
Yeah.
The small town thrift stores.
Now, did you find anything good at the at the Goodwill that we went to, Janet?
Oh, at that Goodwill, the one we never went to before. Yeah, I did find a couple of jackets there that were nice. One was vintage Ralph Lauren, and then another was I don't remember the name right now. But I found a few pieces, so it was nice to look through it and to discover a different thrift store that we've never visited.
Yeah, and you also found a really cool not Rolodex, but a phone.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah, I didn't. I thought it was cool. A phone number organizer from the 50s.
It was 1948. It's Bakelite, and
it is Bakelite for sure.
It is Bakelite. Yes, it's from 1948 and new in the box, never used. It's like a Rolodex address book type of thing.
Yeah,
not Rolodex, but index.
Yes,
it's not like circular. It's more of like a square shape.
Yeah, it's actually rectangle
or rectangular.
Shape. Long, and it's really cool looking. I like the buttons on
I'll have to show that in a video sometime. It's hard to describe just audio.
But it's an old school, like the way people used to put their, addresses and phone numbers, and it has a button like it with probably A through C. You push the button, the thing lifts up, and it like goes right to that page of last names.
Yeah, in alphabetical order. It's a little index with the little top that flips up.
It's really cool, and it's not written in.
Paid maybe $5 for it, and I'm not quite sure on the value. The prices are all over the place, but it's nice that it's in the original box. Mm-hmm. And 70-something years later, it was never used.
Yeah.
Wild.
Well, between that excursion and the last couple things, between that, the flea market, and then the honey hole visit we had today, I've got a pile of clothing to list, which we plan to list tomorrow. We're going to have a little clothing party.
A listing party.
Yeah. Specifically the clothes, because those are the most unfun things to list, I think. But
the clothes are difficult sometimes.
They're cool to find.
But you have to make sure they look just right for the pictures and measure everything.
Yeah. And there has to be. You need a nice space to do it too. You know, a nice roomy wall or
a nice background
something
to take the pictures
and lighting too.
And good lighting.
It's hard to do with clothing for some reason because a lot of stuff that we list we have like little lighted photo booths.
Yeah.
Where they're lucky everything's lit from the top.
A lot of the clothing pieces I found recently don't fit in our small little photo booth.
No.
So I have to set aside like a wall in one of our rooms to just take photos on.
So tomorrow we're going to rig some stuff up, kind of just go for it. I've got tons of clothing to list. And I'm looking forward to it, actually. It's going to be a lot of fun.
We'll listen to the radio and just, or podcasts.
Podcasts, or I got a bunch of records, too, LPs I could... Like, if we do it outside, it could be a lot of fun listening to.
But then you have to switch out the records while you're trying to do a listing? Well, if you want to do that,
we have a choice. We can podcast. We can listen to podcasts. We could be fun.
There's stuff we can listen to.
I would like to hear some of the stuff we bought, because then when are we going to listen to it? Or at some point tomorrow. But I'm just thinking the big picture. So, yeah.
Yeah, and I know a few podcasts back ago I said I was not going back to the flea market for a while. Well,
oops.
I broke my own rule.
Well, that's got to...
Broke my own rule.
I'll be heading out to flea markets quite a bit this week.
We did go to one Saturday morning.
Can I talk about what I found at the Goodwill?
Sure.
Okay. Yeah, I was kind of jumped ahead a little bit there.
Oh,
but yeah,
I'm sorry.
But at that Goodwill...
I should have asked.
I'm excited about a few things because I bought a lot of shirts there, T-shirts. And speaking of things that you said you weren't going to do, that's one thing I said I wasn't going to do, is buy T-shirts or any kind of clothing, because it really doesn't sell for me. And I know why. It's because it's very specific, obviously. You got to have the right size, blah, blah, blah. But I did find a Bon Jovi concert T-shirt from 1987.
Ooh.
Now, is it a repop? It doesn't look like it to me. It does have a double stitch in the sleeve, but I don't know what that means 100% either. But it looks legitly old.
Maybe there's a vintage t-shirt guide online you could check.
I'll have to
see if there's little things you can check to verify, like the age of a shirt.
Yeah, that would be interesting.
Or the age of a piece of clothing.
Because other resellers we see, they always look for the single stitch on the sleeve, the single stitching on the sleeve. Hey, this has
that's double stitch.
So there you go.
Yeah, most t-shirts now have the double stitch.
Yeah.
And I think they might have started that in the 90s.
Right, so this could be a 90s shirt for all I know.
Single stitch is usually like 70s and 80s.
Yeah, all the
From
way
what
up until when, though. Yeah,
but I don't know like what year they started doing that.
That's something you and I both have to clarify. So when we find something, we can go, boom, it's between here and here. So that'll be fun to learn real quick tomorrow, or between now and then. Anyway, so I found a Bon Jovi shirt and, like I said, a bunch of other weird ones that I thought were pretty cool.
A Halloween one, I remember.
From the Halloween stores. Which one? It was called the Halloween store, right?
Halloween's Express?
Yeah.
Halloween Express, and they're not even around anymore.
No,
that's cool.
Now it's mostly the Spirit.
So it's probably from the 90s.
Yeah, and I sold a Halloween Express hat, I believe, at one time. A baseball cap. That went for like $25 or $30.
Nice.
I think $30 for that.
But people love Halloween. People love Christmas. So if you find vintage Halloween or vintage Christmas, that's always fun.
Also found a Queensryche rock T-shirt, concert T-shirt, which makes me wonder, were there other ones in there? Because when you find one or two, it's a question like maybe someone had a bunch of them and those are the leftovers.
Like they got rid of their rock T-shirts or
I always
whatever.
wonder, if there were other ones there that I missed out on. but yeah, and I found some other stuff there too. But that was it was mostly clothing. Oh, and Steve & Barry's. That's shop with
Steve & Barry's. It was from like the 90s, early 2000s. It was like a men's like discount kind of store, and they used to sell like some cool shirts, some preppy clothing too,
but it was,
and sweatshirts.
They had a lot of generic like sports, like college and
it was like
high school sportsy type stuff.
Yeah, it was known as being like a lower price, like men's clothing.
Was it
store.
men's? I thought they just sold everything there.
I think it was mostly men's.
I don't remember, but anyway, I did find and I can't wait. I think this is a good thing, and you were kind of like, I will see. But it's a button down short sleeve, Hawaiian type shirt, but it's got the big Limp Bizkit graffiti guy on it, the rappy guy from with the microphone and the handout.
That shirt was so ugly. I'm just
I can't wait.
I think really picked that one out.
I did. I cannot. I think I paid $7 for it, but I got a good feeling.
It has no tag.
It does
right?
have the tag.
Oh, I thought you said you couldn't find the tag.
No, I couldn't find the shirt online.
You told me.
No, it's got a big giant.
It does.
It's Hawaiian something in there, and Steve & Barry's Hawaiian, and it has an actual hanging tag on it.
Well, maybe that's considered vintage now.
It would be, yeah, probably from the 90s, probably from the late 90s.
Okay.
So anyway, I'm excited about that one. So, all right, so we did have a lot of fun popping around and trying to find some new territory, new stomping grounds.
So we would go thrift for a while and then go and check on the dogs.
Right.
Thrift for a while, go check on the dogs.
Right, or whatever, kind of. And we even did a little bit. We tried to do a little bit at a local store called Mark's, where we're trying to do some
retail arbitrage.
And
sometimes
no luck there, really.
There's a discount store in Northeast Ohio called Mark's, and sometimes they get closeouts. And I think every town has like a closeout store. So we shop the closeout section, and sometimes we find cool stuff, sometimes we don't. It's like hit or miss.
Yeah, I found some. What was it? That wasn't Ben 10. It was Stretch Armstrong. They revived that cartoon series a while back, and they totally revamped it. And there was one particular, they had a set of characters, and I almost bought all of them as a complete set, and they were going to sell them that way. But I wound up finding there was one, and it wasn't even particularly a cool character. It was some hawk, like a bird type character that could stretch or something. But I saw online he was going for a little, and I bought all 4 that they had, and I did sell all 4, strangely enough, in around a 2-week period to different buyers. It was like all of a sudden they were dead for a few months, and boom, they all sold within the 2-week period.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, I mean, I got like, I think I paid like $4, like $3 a piece, and I sold them for about 15 to 20 a piece. But it was just weird how they sold all around the same time. I don't know what was going on.
So, speaking of that, I know you were saying you were getting weird messages from some buyers. And lately, like...
were we done talking about our thrift store excursions? Like we moved there. We were going to talk about the flea market. I thought we were going to go into that next.
Oh, okay.
We finished up on Goodwill that day.
Well, we mentioned the flea market a little bit. I mean...
Did you want to talk about going back there? I mean, people might be excited to know what you felt about going back, because you said you'd never go back.
Okay.
There
yeah, we went back, and
we'll go to that.
It was okay, I guess. But we were looking at records from one seller. There was a vendor there, so there was a vendor who had a table there where everything at this flea market everything at the table was $1 each.
And right when you hear him say that, boom.
And then boom, all the vultures go.
Us included.
Well, we saw people at the table, but I thought, well, let's wait a few minutes, let other people look, and then we can go look when it's not so crowded, because with the whole pandemic thing, I don't want to get super close to people.
And it's
kind of rude when you're shopping and someone's like reaching over you or kind of hovering over you to see what you're grabbing. Yeah. I hate that so much.
Even before the
pandemic, I hated it when you're shopping at a flea market or a yard sale or store or whatever, and someone's like right next to you, and it's like, what are you doing? I don't know you.
Chomping at the bit.
Why are you standing this close to me?
I'm looking at this, so just relax, wait, and you'll get your turn after I take all the cool stuff.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we were having that issue. We were even telling people to please stand back if there's a 6-foot thing, and they go, "Oh, okay," and they just stand exactly where they were.
Like he didn't even move.
3 feet away, or not even.
And this was someone who was old enough to know better.
Of course, no mask on. No consideration for anybody else.
Well, 2 weeks ago, I was coughed on by someone at the flea market.
Yeah.
Luckily, I'm okay.
Yeah. But yeah, so it's like it's
so aggravating.
Pandemic aside. What about, just common courtesy and not being a jerk or being
just common sense politeness and to not be that grabby and rude. And what are you doing standing right next to me or hovering over me while I look at the records?
It's very weird.
It's very rude. And I had to tell this same person, like, excuse me, sir, we're looking through this record crate. We're looking through this. Yeah. We were here before you.
People are afraid.
Like, you have to wait your turn.
Well, I'm going to miss that gem, man. Well, and we did find some cool records.
So we grabbed any record that we thought could be interesting, just so they couldn't get it.
Right.
And then the vendor was nice enough to let us look through and sort through the records in more detail, like behind the table by his car.
He had his van
just out of the way of the vultures.
Right. He had his hatchback opened up, his door, and he goes, "You guys can look at him in the back here if you want." And we used the back of his car to sort everything.
Yeah.
Which was nice. But, I mean, those tables are always going to get swamped when they goes, "Everything here's $1. Oh, boy. Here they are. I mean,
yeah.
Me included. I hear it, too.
Yeah, but at the same time, I don't want to be that close to people, like, ever.
I would... Well, am I going to say I would never reach over? I was kind of...
Well, there was one book I was looking at, and there was someone looking through the box, and I said, if you're not interested in that one book, is it okay if I see it?
Yeah, you asked, though.
I said, I don't want to be that guy, like, is it okay if I see it? And he handed it to me. He let me look at it.
So yeah, so going back, and that's your main gripe about going to the anything.
Is how rude people are.
Yeah.
They're just like, it's so gross.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing? Even before the pandemic, I hated that.
Yeah. So our strategy is to obviously try to find tables that aren't that packed, and then kind of just peruse that way. But we found some cool stuff. I mean, I found a Godzilla mask, a latex Godzilla mask for $5, and it had a hole in the neck for someone to look out of. But it's on our set now, and our MummyAndMonkey set is perfect.
Yeah,
on there. It was a good $5, and you found actually you learned a lot. You learned something about jewelry at this one too.
Yes, so I learned a very valuable lesson. There was one vendor that had some jewelry. There were 2 necklaces that looked like Pandora charm necklaces. They look like they're real silver, and I still think they could be real silver, but when I did some more research, they aren't real Pandora necklaces. They're like knockoffs. And I paid $20 for both necklaces. So it was a $20 learning experience that I will never forget.
And you'll never make that mistake again. And you can probably...
Yeah. So now I can identify what real Pandora jewelry is and what the bootlegs are not.
Do you think you can get your money back for the...
What I could do, I can't list them as Pandora because they're not real Pandora, but I could list them as silver charm necklaces. Mm-hmm. and just maybe put them both up for $20 and get my money back. Because they are nice jewelry pieces, but it's bootleg.
Yeah.
So I'm on the fence about that. I may list them, I may not, because technically I probably should do the right thing and just like scrap them or throw them away. You really shouldn't sell bootlegs. So don't listen to what I say.
Right. Now
you should not sell bootlegs online. It is not good.
So all in all, just to wrap up the flea market thing. I mean, it was what it was. There weren't a lot of vendors. It was kind of cold that morning anyway. It wasn't like, it wasn't like hopping to where, we could have made the experience up, any of the bad stuff up with a good experience. We did, marginal. I got a few things I thought were pretty cool, like that Godzilla mask, and then just for our set. But then I got a Tascam, a digital recorder without the power supply. But I mean, I bought it for $10. I might be able to sell it as is for, 50 to 75. We'll see. And then a few other small things. But, and we'll wind up going to some other flea markets, if not that one, just to kind of, stay in the loop. And and things are going in a way for us as far as, the pandemic that other people are doing as well, without getting too specific about, But
vaccinated. Once I'm fully vaccinated, I personally will feel more confident to go out to some places that I did not feel comfortable going to before. Right. But we still are going to be careful and play it cool, play it safe.
All of the precautions to kind of help not let this thing spread anymore, as far as we can help it, So that's that with the flea market. I think what we did today, we went to the Honey Hole today, our favorite Goodwill.
It's a favorite Goodwill, and it's a secret Goodwill. It's the secret Goodwill.
Did we get some honey today, honey?
We got some honey. We got 2 cartloads of honey.
And that's rare for you to leave with a cartload, because
normally I'm more choosy.
And you should be. We should be more
and
choosy.
I will only pick out certain pieces, but this time around, I had a good chunk of stuff.
Right, you couldn't say no to.
And we were like, oh yeah, we'll film. And here's the thing, we have to get better with filming our adventures for YouTube, because I think it would be visually interesting for people. Especially
a day like this where we're like hitting all these great things.
Because it's not always every day where we find that many cool things. But when we start looking, we kind of both get in the zone. It don't really think about filming. We're just like wanting to, it's almost like Terminator, where they're scanning.
Well, his vision, when you see the little
when you
crosshairs.
See him, it's like what he sees through the glasses. That's how we are when we thrift or look for things. We're very meticulous with how we look and what we look for.
Very bullseye. And so we did, and I knew that we were doing good there because I didn't hear from you because we split up. I didn't get any texts like I gotta go, I gotta pee. I think we wound up both having to pee, but I didn't hear anything about it till we were checked out.
Well, no, I was actually good.
Yeah, I know you were in the zone. That's what happened.
I was in the zone. I didn't drink a lot of water that morning.
Well, okay. But I really did get that high, that sort of that buzz, like a runner's high, but a thrifter's high.
Because sometimes we'll be there an hour and I might find 2 things, and then I'm telling him, "Come on, I want to go. Can we go?"
We've been there for 10 minutes, and you get like that. It has nothing to do with
I'm also
the length of time.
If I don't find anything, I feel like I don't want to be there.
I know, but
I want to go.
And there is stuff to find sometimes, even when it's a little light. You just have to dig, and I get that. But today was not one of those days. It was like everywhere we turned, they were bringing stuff out, shelving it.
It was just so much stuff.
And there weren't a lot of people there.
And maybe a handful of people in the whole store. It was nice and quiet.
I was looking around. There's whole aisles to ourselves. I'm like, I don't feel like anyone's going to find anything before I find it. It was great.
It was glorious.
And that stuff, I think we have to do a haul video today too. I think we have to, because you need to see the stuff.
Okay.
I think it's better to see it.
Yeah, maybe we could record that later and
some videos.
Upload it later. Yeah. So another idea for podcasting. Maybe later we should just do video podcasts so that we can show things.
Well, that's kind of like what we do. Well, what's the difference between this and what we usually upload to YouTube as a video.
Well, that's true. Well, this will be a discussion for a later date.
Yeah. So do we want to wrap anything up? We're good. I mean, we can go a little longer.
We'll wrap this up in this reselling topic in a few minutes. But yeah, I wanted to say, like, you were saying you were getting weird messages from a certain buyer. Do you want to share that?
Well, it's nothing really to write home about. But you did show me how to block somebody. Oh, there's our cat, Jack. Hi, Jack. Come on in. Welcome to the podcast, buddy.
He ran away.
He just wants attention.
He's a brat.
Who doesn't? Can't blame him. No, I mean, there's this one videotape I have for sale on if it's like a $15 free shipping type of thing. It's nothing special. And I keep getting messages from this one particular buyer that's asking me about if there's a certain promo or commercial that is on before this tape. Okay. So I answered him once, twice actually 3 times. And then I'm like, well, wait a minute, this is getting weird. It kept sending me these weird messages. So you showed me how to block them.
Yes.
And we did. And then, boom, there they are again. A few weeks later, the same question. It's odd.
The same name?
The same, yeah, because it's the same. It has to be, because it's the same question.
We'll just ignore it.
Yeah, I just don't understand. It's like weird. I don't understand what the goal is here, but...
Yeah,
all right.
I noticed, and this seems to be like, I think other sellers notice this too. If you get a lot of eBay messages about an item, asking for every little detail, most of the time they're not going to buy it. And most of the time, you don't want to sell it to them.
They will be trouble.
Because it's just going to be trouble later where they're going to want to return it.
No, we're not saying people shouldn't ask buyers questions or sellers questions.
No, if you ask a question every now, absolutely. If there's something you're wondering about, but I'm talking about when it gets a little excessive. So I have a doll listed right now that's a Patty Play Pal clone doll. It's a tall plastic vintage doll. I had someone message me about, okay, is it hard plastic? Is it soft plastic? So I answered those questions.
Yeah. And
then, how are the hands on the doll? How are the feet on the doll? How are the eyes on the doll? And then so after all that, it's a large doll. It's 31 inches tall, and I have it for $70 with free shipping. And I have it set a little high like that because I know the shipping's going to be expensive, especially if someone lives in California, like on the West Coast. It's going to cost a little bit to ship something that size. And they were like wanting to haggle. Would you do 50? And I replied, absolutely not with free shipping. And then they sent me like 4 more messages. So at that point, I made an executive decision to block them. So they cannot buy the item. And I don't do that very often. But when there's certain incidences, or did I say that right? Certain things that happen like that, it's probably in your best interest as a seller to just be like, okay, I don't think I should sell this to you.
Like the Puff Daddy song, more money, more problems, is being more questions, more problems.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've noticed that too. The more questions you get asked sometimes by the same buyer, it seems like there's too much of a microscope on the item, and it's not going to live up to their standards, and they might wind up returning it. And we've had some issues. We've had actual incidents where we sell it to the person and you get some wacky stuff back.
Because in the past, I've had people ask lots of questions like that doll item,
and you sell it to them.
You sell it to them, and then they they have more questions,
or want to return it,
and then they want to return it, or they're unhappy with it because of XYZ. So it's just so much easier to just be like, you know what, this is sending off a red flag. I've got a gut feeling about this person messaging me repeatedly. I'm just going to not sell that to them.
And thank God, 99% of the buyers, including us, when we buy stuff, we know what we're looking at, we know what we want, and you want that item, you buy it, and you get it, and you're happy.
Yeah,
that's most of the experience.
Yeah, that's 9 times out of 10. Yeah. And every now and then you'll get like one odd individual who's doing things like that,
and it never fails to throw you for a loop. And I'm trying to think of one of the like some people. And then there's the funny questions like that I get sometimes. Like we get sometimes. It's like, hey, dude, I have this item you're selling, but I don't have the manual for it. Any chance you could scan in the manual and send it to me? Like, no, I'm not here.
This isn't tech support.
You can buy the item and you can,
you can buy it and it comes with the manual.
But then they'd probably do that scan and then want to return it within 30, that whole thing.
And then they'll keep the manual and send the item back to you.
Maybe, or anything. But that's just but no, I'm not no offense, thanks for writing, but it's why would I do that, dude?
Yeah,
I
don't
could be
do
taking
that.
a nap, I could be listing something, doing anything other than scanning it in a manual for you to send to you.
Yeah.
It's weird, like what some people think you can do.
But then here's the opposite end of the spectrum. I had a lady message me on eBay a few months back where I sold a vintage porcelain tea set that was with the original box. It was probably from the 1960s. It was a cute little kid's tea set. This lady messaged me who bought it, and she said, "Thank you so much. I've been looking for this tea set for a really long time. I have the same set, but it was missing a..." Did you just fart?
No.
We'll blame it on the cat.
Jack, how dare you do that? They can't.
So, she said she had this tea set, but it was missing a few pieces, and she was trying to find a complete set. Yeah, open a window.
Thank you,
He's
sorry.
trying to kill me here.
We're in our kitchen, so we're next to the window.
Yeah.
Dinner.
So, can I finish my story?
No.
So she said she bought this is serious. She said she bought the tea set. She wanted it complete because it reminded her of her daughter. Because this lady's daughter passed away in the 1980s. And she had her daughter had the same tea set, but it was missing a few pieces. And she bought it just as a sentimental thing. So that made me like, oh, that was sad.
Did you write
But it
her
was sweet.
Did you write her back or anything?
I did write her back, like saying where I found the tea set and that I was really happy that she liked the item and that I was sorry to hear about her daughter being gone. So she just sounded, like a lonely, person just buying it because it had those memories.
Well, I had a similar experience. We may have talked about this. It was a while back. I sold one of those zip drives. It's basically a thing that reads a certain file format, a media format. It's called a zip disk, 1 gigabyte. Ooh. And but it was big, man. It was a big thing back in the 90s. Well, I sold one of these units to a woman, and she bought it, and then she wrote me back. I never wrote her back. I feel horrible, but she did. She said, "Well, thank you so much." And she wanted to know if it worked, blah blah blah. And I said, "Yeah, as far as I could tell, I did test it. It works." When she got it, I got this really nice letter back. Feel free to burp or fart while I talk. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to ruin your story, but you're allowed to if I'm talking. It's fine.
I'm good. I don't have to right now.
Anyway, but she did say that she was very, very, gushed about how this was very good because her husband passed away, and he had some art. He was an artist or a designer, and he had files that she couldn't access. Because she didn't have a zip drive. It was broken or gone. But now she can
So
look
she
at
bought
her
that.
husband's artwork and everything.
Oh, that's sad.
Yeah,
but
so-
it's really sweet because then they have those memories and yeah, it's sentimental.
So a lot of people that when you resell out there, you may be actually helping someone out emotionally or providing something that they thought was lost forever.
Yeah, it's helping them. You're selling memories. It's the nostalgia of some of the vintage pieces.
And even right, Jack, and even more than that sometimes. But wow, yeah. So that's another part of this reselling business. It is a lot. It's not just selling stuff. It's not just selling Cracker Jacks. We actually sell things that mean stuff to people.
That
sometimes.
means something to someone.
And it's nice to hear from the buyers. Those stories.
It is. It's really sweet.
Yeah.
So yeah, we get all different kinds of messages, and we love the nice messages more.
Yeah, of course. But I think but I am entertained sometimes by the wacky ones too. Do we want to hit any of these things, or you want to save those? We can go. I mean, it's we can do whatever we want.
So we had some good weekend sales. I think that would have been. I shared some stuff in a video the other day.
Check out our
so
videos.
You could check out the previous our weekend sales YouTube videos under the Monster Hustle playlist. So that's all with that. And then
want to end this up with managed payment blues?
Yeah, we could talk about that.
Right.
So we had some little ideas of things we wanted to talk about. We've got our little notes here. Managed payments. So we've been on managed payments on eBay
Over
since
a year now.
Yeah, for almost a year, maybe a little over a year.
Yeah, a little over.
And we like it. It does direct deposit to your bank account. And there's no middleman like PayPal. So you actually pay...
Or middle woman.
Or middle person. You actually pay less in fees overall through eBay if you switch to eBay managed payments. But some people who are like the old-timey, old-school eBay people are not liking it. They just don't want to switch over. I think some people maybe for a while weren't claiming what they sold on there. Maybe they're like the casual eBay people that just sell a little bit here and there. But if you're selling, obviously talk to a tax professional. We're not the professionals. But yeah, there's a lot of back and forth with what people think of the managed payments.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's sort of the nature of the beast when you're dealing with a business and you're dealing with money being exchanged. I mean, it was only a matter of time before Uncle Sam wanted to get his fingers in those eBay pockets too, because there was a lot of commerce going on where some of this money wasn't even being, just like a flea market too.
People were treating it like an online yard sale where they just weren't, claiming things, and not everyone is like that, but some people are.
Yeah, and I'm waiting for that day to come somehow. How they tap into the flea market thing, because there's so much money being. We've talked about this before, but yeah, so there's so much money being exchanged that is not getting income taxed on. So it's incredible. But look, part of paying taxes is part of being. Part of being a business person. So we're cool with that. And managed payments, blues, it is what it is, and we're willing to roll with the punches and just go with the flow, because we're still making
the same company that uses, or the same process they use for the managed payments. Etsy has been using that for years, and it seems to work fine on Etsy. Mm-hmm. So if it works fine on there, it'll work fine on eBay.
That's right, Janet. And what's next on our list? I have to pee. Oh, I think we should take a break here, and we'll be back and talk about what's going on with the Mummy and the Monkey's Hairy Scary Hangout.
There we go.
You ever done a podcast? I have. Hey, welcome back, everybody. We are here on the Mummy and the Monkeys, Living the Scream.
Living the Scream. I almost wanted to say Hairy Scary Hangout.
Again, we did that last week, I think, by accident. But we're so used to,
It's like stuck in our brains.
So, yeah, we talked about the first half. We talked about our reselling. Then we took a little pee break. And now we're back here talking about... the Mummy and the Monkey.
The Mummy and the Monkey's Hairy Scary Hangout, our Friday night Facebook Live show, where we host a cheesy B horror film or sci-fi movie. And we also have it simulcasted on the Public Media Network Roku channel and Fire Stick and Apple TV. And on the Public Media Network in Kalamazoo, Michigan, thanks to our buddy Kenji.
Boom! Break it down, Janet. That was perfect. All right. So people know where to find us.
Friday nights at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. Because we're Cleveland area.
Yeah, we're on that side. Northeast Ohioans.
And this Friday's movie, we decided to play Vampire Over London from 1952. And it has Bela Lugosi in it.
Yes.
It has Arthur Lucan in it, who has a drag character called Old Mother Riley. Mm-hmm. And she's like, an old, English lady.
No relation to Old Mother Hubbard.
Yeah, no Old Mother Hubbard. Mother Riley.
A different old mother.
It's more of like a horror slapstick comedy, It's more of just like a goofy, fun movie.
Yeah. Does anyone actually get slapped with a stick in this movie, or is it just...
No.
Okay.
Not that I know of.
Slap with something. Yeah.
But Dracula's happen. There's a vampire.
And there's
somewhere.
what do you say, an atomic?
A uranium robot.
Oh, boy.
There's uranium robots, and then there's like people wrapped up like mummies.
That's odd.
So it's just a very odd movie. And I was looking up old movies. There's a bunch of them, surprisingly, here on YouTube. And I don't know how they get away with that, because it seems like anytime we try to upload any old public domain movie, it gets some sort of, ding on there, like saying someone else owns it.
Well, it's the Wild West as far as... And that's something I would like to understand.
Not quite the Wild West.
Well, I mean, for people claiming they own stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
I think with the YouTube stuff, it's mostly the music, but some movies get dinged.
Yeah, they can, yeah.
Yeah.
So, but we'll see. I mean, it's on YouTube now, and that's kind of where you found it.
And that's how I found it.
There won't be a problem uploading this, this coming show up to YouTube after we do it on Facebook. So yeah, so now we're going to talk a little bit about how the process of how we find movies, and Janet likes to go ahead and do that.
Well, a little bit, yeah. We'll discuss it a little bit, because another kind of old movie I was looking up, and that's how I accidentally found some of these horror films, was I was looking up pre-code Hollywood movies.
Yes.
Pre-code was before the Hays Code of like decency, where they had rules and regulations to what you can and cannot put in movies. And the 1920s and early 1930s was kind of like not quite a free-for-all, but they had some more taboo topics in movies that they didn't want, like that wouldn't exist in the 50s. So like there were women who committed crimes, who were tried for murder, who were like they had characters in some of these movies that weren't typical. I'm trying to
homogenize. The women had a little more tooth and edge. Like some of the characters were like
the women were more edgy in some of these movies. Whereas if you look at a movie from the 50s, she's like the homemaker or secretary,
or perhaps a secretary.
Yeah. Quoting MST3K there.
Right, and really quick, just to interject and talk a little bit here, but it was not unlike, if other people are out there familiar with the Comics Code Authority that happened in the 50s after EC Comics did all their crazy Tales from the Crypt, very violent and gory comics. They were there was some outrage about that, and they thought they could have to regulate it with a comic book code, just like they did with the movies before that. Hollywood went through the same thing before the comics did, because society was always trying to blame the issues that they were having on something. Oh, it must be the movies, it must be these comical books,
Yeah. So even before the video game and blaming of video games, there were, other things they were blaming things on.
Absolutely. So go back to...
So I was looking up the pre-code Hollywood movies, and some of them are like the murder mystery whodunits. And then I found some horror films from that era, and then, and into the 40s and 50s, and found... like Vampire Over London or The Phantom from 1931 that we played maybe about a month back.
Yeah. Not the guy dressed in a purple jumpsuit running around the jungle. This was a different movie entirely.
Yeah, this was about a crazy murderer character guy who escaped from a prison to get revenge.
Was it really? I don't know what
and it was like a low budget kind of whodunit movie, and that was one of them that we played. It was considered a pre-code movie. But
it's so low budget you never found out who or what the done it was. So it's bad. But yeah, you found that one and some other ones. But this one sounds... I cannot wait to get my paws on this. I can't wait to add sound effects and drops to this movie because it looks perfect.
Oh, it'll be fun. It'll be fun. So yeah, it takes a little while for me to and you to look through to see like what movies we can play.
Unearth stuff.
And then we watch them prior to like making a decision, obviously, to make sure there's nothing, because we don't want to show anything that's, even though we like all sorts of different movies, we try to keep it for most ages to watch.
Now, what we can talk about too, speaking about this subject, and I don't think we talked about this before. Unfortunately, there's a good chunk of movies out there that fall into the public domain that we could use, but we don't show them because they do portray racial stereotypes.
Right. So obviously something that's racially insensitive, we would not play on our show. That's just not how we do things. We're more about, we want it where everyone can watch us from different backgrounds, different faiths, and we don't want to play anything that could portray someone in a negative light.
Or offend anybody.
Or offend someone.
Right. And we understand too, because we both have we are both of mixed lineage. We're not we definitely, and we won't have to go into that much more than that. But and we can relate. Let's put it that way,
a little bit,
to what's going on with this, and our maybe, and I think that's what opened my eyes about it. I had no choice growing up. I mean, I am of mixed race, and I might not look like it to some people, but I am, and that's been sort of a kind of a good, I'm not gonna say bad. It's definitely put me in a position where I can't really choose a side necessarily and be good with it, because and say, well, I'm this or I'm that, without getting too deep. But it definitely opened my eyes to things, and I saw things, and I grew up in a totally different light. I grew up in different neighborhoods, babysitted by different people, and I learned a lot about different ways of life and different cultures, if you will. Mm-hmm. So and I was happy about that. But I also saw a world, not as, let's say, black and white as most people have. I could definitely see how it all kind of blends together. So these movies, and I know a lot of people will say, well, it was part of the times.
It is part of the time. It was part of the time. Yes, it was.
Then.
Times were different then. So, of course, you can look up those films and watch them on your own time. Feel free to.
Absolutely.
I mean, we have seen some of them, but we're not justifying the fact that what happened in those movies wasn't okay.
Yeah.
So we're it wasn't okay, and even though we have seen them for historical purposes and for learning purposes, we would not play them on our show or talk about them.
Right. For the reasons Janet mentioned earlier. And it's unfortunate because there's some pretty decent movies out there without those sort of portrayals in there. Would be great to show and free to show because they're definitely public domain, but yeah, so that's something we're always looking out for too, because we can't. There's so many times, even with cartoons too, that we want to show, or shorts and things like that. We'll go, hey, look at this. This looks great. And we start watching it, and then we get a few minutes in, and boom, there it is. It's like, no wonder why this isn't shown. This is free to show anywhere you want, because
there were cartoons where I'm like, oh, that looks cute, and then a few minutes into it, I'm like, oh, why'd they have to go and do that?
I mean, I can chop that stuff out, but some of it you can't because a 3-minute cartoon becomes a 50-second cartoon.
Yeah, it's like I can't even do anything with that. That's just all kinds of wrong.
Yeah, but so there's always that we have to look out for, and that's our choice as a show, And
other people may do things differently with how they talk about movies or play movies or entertain. That's just what we choose to do.
So it's getting tougher to find stuff out there to show, but we will figure it out. But when we talked about this before,
we have talked with some indie film people, which is really nice because we are trying to plan some indie film events, some Hairy Scary Hangout episodes where we feature some indie filmmakers.
Yeah, showcase some more indie films. And that's always fun.
Oh yeah.
And the way we find these things, I think we touched on it last episode, where just a visit to the flea market, kind of something landed in our lap that way,
Yeah, we talked about that in last week's podcast.
So that was fun.
If you missed it, check out last week's podcast here on our YouTube channel.
And thanks for making the coffee today. It's really good. It's like around, it's in late evening here in Cleveland. But, man, coffee really does help wake you up a little bit to do some yakking,
Yeah.
So thank you, baby.
Sure, hon. So we have the movie picked out for this Friday for episode 123 of the Hairy Scary Hangout. And then last night we were fixing up the set, the studio.
We did, because we tore it apart the last show.
We did.
For the Hangover.
2 weeks ago for the after party talk show, the Hairy Scary Hangover. That's also here on the YouTube channel under the Mummy and the Monkey playlist. And we do go live after we host a movie on Facebook. We jump over to our YouTube channel, and it's like a live chat show where we talk about different topics. We were showing some of our props from the set.
All of our props.
Almost all of them. I think there were some that we didn't get to talk about. Ran out of time or something.
But what was funny is that people were like saying stuff, and our back is to the set, right? Mm-hmm. And I didn't realize how much stuff we took off until afterwards. I'm like, oh my god, like everything has gone off of the shelf behind it. It was really funny. So it must have been a good visual for the because we couldn't see it.
Because they could see like, oh, you're taking everything off the shelf.
Yeah,
yeah. Your background, like everything behind you is like, yeah.
And the stuff we didn't show fell off, So we had some things like that. But it was a lot of fun. And then after we got up and we ended the show, I turned around like, God, everything is gone. So visually, it must have been funny to watch.
So we took some time to rearrange things and put everything, back. And there's still part of the set I need to fix up. There's like a shelf with some of my mummy props and decor, and
that may or not be able to see. May or may not.
So some things I may swap out and put other things there. And then I did clean up the sarcophagus, so. So that's all cleaned up and dusted. And...
Yeah, so it'll be a lot of fun. The reveal. We did kind of reveal it a little bit. Oh, it's on Facebook, a picture of it. But, it'll be fun to actually, use it as
it'll be more visible.
Functional set for this week's show. We're looking forward to that. I mean, if it's not 100% like totally differently revamped, but, it's it'll be,
Yeah,
fresh enough.
so we have like masks and skulls and Halloween decorations and little souvenirs from like Ghoularty Fest and bobbleheads and things like that. So sometimes when we redecorate every couple months or so, we'll like swap out, maybe one monster mask for another. We'd like to change things out to freshen it up a little bit, but it's the same idea. It's our sign, it's the background with the posters and everything, and then like the monster props and Halloween displays.
So growing up, when I was watching stuff growing up, and all the horror hosts that I used to watch had a set, and to me a set it looked like to me, and it was like the Ghoul and Houlihan and Big Chuck kind of had the same thing going. Even Ghoularty had the same thing, where it was like maybe 8 feet by 4 foot tall giant like pieces of like board or foam or something were like stuck together in 3 or 4 pieces, and they would just like collage it with posters and God knows what, anything that was sent into them, whatever, monster posters, crap that the viewers. So there's this hodgepodge of stuff, and I just thought growing up that's always what it was. We have something like that going on now, and the thing behind us is basically just a 3 pieces of cardboard that I put together, and I created just that one piece like over 20 years ago for my Grimm Gorri show I was doing for fun on a local cable access station. So we've kind of added to it and stuff, but if we took that away, it would just be this like, this...
But what is all that on?
What do you mean?
We have all of that on an ironing board.
Oh, it's sitting on top of an ironing board. It's covered with a purple bed sheet.
Of an antique wooden ironing board with a purple bed sheet on top of the ironing board.
Right. I mean, it's all, smoke and mirrors,
yeah.
Magic.
So now you know the secret. We have all those props behind us being held by a wooden ironing board.
But if we took all of that away, it would be that what do they call it? I'm trying to think of what they do at Halloween in
haunted houses.
What's that called? Yeah, when they fabricate, it'd be a fabricated stone wall.
Yeah, where it's like
supposed
foam
to be a mausoleum.
Where it's like foam board, and they sculpt it to look like a stone wall.
Yeah, I built all that out of foam and paint and everything.
Yeah,
and did all that. But if we took all that stuff away, it would just be the typical horror host dungeon, or inside of a cemetery or mausoleum set type of thing. So that's why we added all that stuff. I think does it make sense that we have what we have there?
I think it does. I think it makes sense perfully for us.
People like it. It's colorful.
It's what we do.
Yeah.
Well, some hosts have this style, and Ghoularty did that. Well, you're shooting something in black and white, and everything's like kind of dark and moody. And some hosts have the mood lighting. Mm-hmm. We tend to have things a little more like bright and cheery, but it's more like retro Halloween. Like fun and colorful and
because again, I'm being a designer and an artist, I just kind of like ask those questions. Like I'm looking at this stuff going, does this make any sense? I mean, why do we have this like 3-paneled, almost like the thing that you would bring to a science fair, or that you can buy those things that like at the Dollar Tree, even like the school's project, whatever those things are called,
like a project board, a poster board type of thing,
and it has the wings on you open them up, and you can like glue all your
the science class
so
experiment.
It's kind of like that. That's what that is,
with a bunch of stuff glued on it.
Everything you can imagine. It's like, again, over 20 years old. It's got layers of stuff.
It works for us, and we've got like other stuff on the sides and all around, and stuff hanging from the ceiling, like a big foam bat and cheesecloth, like gauze fabric, and
we just added some old TV sets underneath your reclining couch.
Oh, that's right. So yeah, we have a small collection of vintage TVs. We just pick them up from time to time. And now we have all these little old boxy TVs. So yeah, we found 2 small ones that fit directly under that little couch.
We were just going to shove them under to hide them. But I said, hey, let's spin them around, and we might even plug them in to get the static. Could be neat. So the thing evolves organically. That's the best way you can describe our set, I think, is organic. It's very organically designed.
It is, and it's very us. It's what we're making it, and I think it's a lot of fun. It's colorful, and it
feels right?
It just feels right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just go with your gut on that and see what works for you.
Well, I got a lot of gut, so So I guess I'm gonna listen to it. Yeah. So I don't know. I like I said, trust me. If I didn't think it was good, I'd pull it all down and we'd start from scratch. You know. But yeah,
I think it works. There's other stuff on the set like I want to in that studio room that I want to fix up. Like I think it could use a coat of paint on some of the walls
that you'll never see on our show. But.
Well, no, just for my own
I know.
amusement.
We could liven it up, yeah. And there's a lot of stuff we could hang that we.
We have a green screen we haven't even tried out yet.
No, that's a whole other thing.
I want to set that up.
Well, when you posted that picture, people were commenting on it, and we've got a lot of nice comments. Someone said it reminds them of when Eddie Munster visited Zombo's set on the Munsters episode.
That's
a
quite
nice
a compliment.
Yeah, and someone even asked, and we answered this question many times, like, "Where is this filmed? Is it like in your basement or in your garage?" And we're like, no, it's a sunroom, and I'm not even kidding around. It's when I saw the sunroom the additional sunroom that was added to the addition to this house. When I saw that, when I was looking at our house that we're living in now, I was looking to buy a house. I looked around, I didn't think anything special about it until I saw that sunroom, and then what you see in that picture was in my head. I'm like, boom, this is our set. Mm-hmm. This is where our studio is going to be, right in this sunroom, and it's like it was meant to be. You know?
Yeah, I mean, it was just the perfect size to set everything up. We even had a television director last week ask if we had a studio somewhere, if we rented a place somewhere.
We were renting where we were doing our show from now.
Yeah, like where we were doing the show from, because he thought we were like renting a place.
We're buying it.
We're like, no, we're trying to pay it off.
It's the house.
It's mortgaged.
Yeah. And anyway, so it worked out perfect. And I think about that too. Like if we do move someday, like it's got to have that. We got to have that. If we're doing this show, have
at least one. We need one room for the studio.
It's like
no matter where we are, we need one room to host the show or do the podcast or whatever. Just something, one room to do something fun and creative like that.
And ultimately, if we stop doing the show, the room could be put to use for something because it'll be a nice size to have either way.
So that's why I was thinking of painting it and like trying to fix that room up in general.
Yeah.
So if we were to move later on, it would at least look nice for the next person.
Yeah, well, they could just paint over it too. Yeah. That's a cosmetic thing. I'm not worried about that.
I don't know. I'm weird like that.
I like the wood panel, but that's just me.
I hate wood paneling so much.
It's gray wood paneling.
It's so ugly.
It's greenish gray wood paneling.
It's like green wood paneling.
Greenish gray. It's beautiful.
Whoever thought that was a great idea?
Not me.
Yeah, it was. You could tell it was definitely made in the 70s.
Excuse me for that. So someone asked us to, Bobby Harvey Jr., our good fan and friend, asked if we're going to have some new skits. Bobby, we're going to try our hardest. Everybody, we're going to try our hardest to get something squoze out.
We need stuff filmed this week.
Yeah. We got ideas.
Yeah, so we need to try to do all that too before Friday.
Yes, and I have one in mind.
No pressure or anything.
Yeah, but I love it though.
We only have to do everything.
That's okay. Who doesn't? I mean, it's being alive. I mean,
I know. I'm just joking.
You get one shot. Let's have fun with this.
And it will be fun. Yeah, we're going to try our best, guys.
Now, we were supposed to do a podcast radio show coming up, right?
Oh, yes. So we were going to do it this week, but we did put it off for next week. Mm-hmm. We rescheduled. Mm-hmm. So next Tuesday, we're going to be on Stephen Ronquillo's podcast. He's from Tennessee, and he's with KSDAD Radio. Ooh. So we're excited about that. He wants to interview us.
Nice.
So that'll be fun. We're going to be on a podcast
Will it
show.
Be live or we recorded and taped for? Is it live? It's a podcast.
I don't remember. I'm going to have to get more information from him and get the website link and everything. Mm-hmm. But it sounds like fun. And once we get more information, we want to share the link on our social media pages.
But of course.
So we are on Facebook. We're on Instagram. Mm-hmm. So like and follow the pages. So when we post,
on Valium?
No. So when we're on. So when we post things like that, you will see it in your news feed. You'll know what's going on if you're following the page.
Right. And the Rondo votes ended recently, just last night at midnight.
Oh, yes, they did. So now they're counting up all the Rondo votes. And it's, I
don't know what to think. I think we have it. No, I don't. Does the Mummy and the Monkey have a chance of winning favorite horror host? We'll we don't know.
We're not sure. I think a lot of people voted for us.
They did. We got a lot of votes.
And it's very tough because you have nationally syndicated television hosts
who've been around for decades,
who've been around forever, and they have a large cult following,
which is great,
which is awesome for them. And we do like these hosts; they're very successful, and we're happy for their success. But when you have, in my opinion, and it's nothing against anyone, when you have one person winning like 10 or 20 times in a row, it's you almost feel discouraged.
You want term limits. That's what you want.
Maybe there should be a term limit, or maybe they should divide the category 21 into maybe 2 categories.
Well, in all fairness, and we're talking about Svengoolie, he seems to win that category over and over again every year. But from what I understand,
he is successful, so understandably people vote for him.
But I understand that
of course,
that even Svengoolie is like, hey, you can retire my name out of there. I'm fine with just being a multi-recipient, and maybe give and then who's going to win it? Either what's his name, Billy Bob Briggs or
Joe Bob Briggs. I don't know if he's won one. I know Elvira's won at least once or twice. Mm-hmm. So you have some people who win multiple times. Which is fine, but when you have one person, that'd be like one person winning an Oscar every year.
But if their performance was that good every year for a new movie, then they should deserve it. That's what I see. I mean, I understand why. I get it. I mean, he outperforms.
But then it's discouraging for others who are also trying to get an Oscar and also put their heart and soul into it.
Well, my question too is, within the
That's why I'm suggesting, and I have suggested that many people have that they split up the horror host category, maybe one by television and one by internet. And that may help level the playing field.
Maybe, but I think there are a lot of people that are on the internet who see themselves as being. I mean, some people, think about it. Svengoolie may be. I'm sure he can be seen worldwide now.
So you might get some people that are on television who might say, well, I also have it online.
Right.
And then you might get some online people who are like, but technically it's on television. Yeah. Well, maybe still split it up, in my opinion. Well, and it's not, like I said, I'm not bad-mouthing anyone. We're grateful to be on the ballot. Mm-hmm. We really are. But it would be nice to see other people get it. Like other television people that we know, like Creature Features, like Marlena Midnight. It's not just about us because we're on the ballot.
I voted for Creature Features.
It's about other people too. Creature Features is awesome.
I do like that show.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they've been around just as long as Svengoolie.
Well, that show has been on since 1972,
yeah, and
74.
Is about that old too. Like the actual original Svengoolie show came out around the probably early 70s. I think it was 70. It was.
I mean, we like Svengoolie and Creature Features, so Svengoolie's one. Give another person a shot.
A question I have too is within the Rondo Awards, is there any other category where that one person keeps winning every year for like best author?
Probably not.
Right. So why is horror hosting
not that I know
such a tough one? Why is it? Because I guess
there's so many of us.
Well, and a writer would have to come up with a new book every year. There wouldn't be if they did the best horror writer, Stephen King would probably win every year for all his books he ever wrote.
Yeah.
Who could beat him in horror? I mean, I don't know. Clive Barker, but there would be some sort, or whoever. Think about it that way, like. Who, how is, I don't, that's just the other question I have.
So we're going to, it hasn't been announced yet, but I'm jokingly, I say this as a joke, guys. Congratulations, Svengoolie, for winning the 50th time.
That's okay.
100th time.
But,
I'm totally kidding. I say this to be funny, but
that's the bar that's been set.
But that's the bar that's been set, and that's what's going on in the horror hosting world and in the Rondo Classic Horror Film Awards.
Yeah, and if anybody would beat him that's not Elvira or Joe Bob Briggs, or that would be incredible. Think about that, because you still have to get through that. Mm-hmm. Because there's
I mean the top 3 right now nationally are probably. Yeah. Svengoolie, Joe Bob Briggs, and Creature Features.
And Elvira's
still around, but she doesn't have a show right now.
Right, so why? Yeah,
she'll make appearances and she does little videos online, but she doesn't have an actual show right now.
That's true too. That should be a qualification.
She was doing a Netflix thing, but I don't think it went through. I think they couldn't negotiate something.
There was always.
So I don't know.
But she's still on
but
people's radar.
We love Elvira too.
She's still on people's radar.
People still love her, of course.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, and it's hard to choose. That's why I think it would be good to have, like, okay, here's
Elvira, I love them. I mean her. Just kidding.
Her
Ow! Sorry. No, that was a niece. Smack my hand. Go ahead. Foley.
To have an internet host category, and then have the television host category. So if you're like on regular television, like Svengoolie,
right.
If you're on regular television, like Creature Features, then they can be like those handful of people who are still on broadcast television can be in one category, and it might be like 5 or 6 of them. And then the internet people, it might be like 20 of us in the other category. And it would still be a little more difficult, but it would at least have 2 different categories to work off of, or at least try for.
I couldn't agree more. I feel the same way. I just don't know how fast anything, if it'll actually be done. But, I think some other people out there would like to. I know Svengoolie would like other people to win. Because again, it just
from
gets
what
to be
we've
a little
heard,
like,
we haven't talked with him about.
I've read
that,
an interview.
Oh, you did? Okay, yeah, I didn't know.
Mm-hmm. And you can look it up yourself, but and I would encourage you to. But it sounds like he's cool with his name being retired off of the list. He said that,
yeah.
At least in an article, I didn't hear him say it, but in an article I read.
Okay.
But and it makes sense because it's just wants you want other people to win. Why bother having it? Just call it the Svengoolie Award.
Yeah, the Sven Awards. Yeah.
Yeah. But no, but again,
like I said earlier, this is we love all these hosts. It's no,
How would you feel though? Let's just talk. Let's just bring it down. Let's say they do that. Let's say they break down into 2 categories, and every year, let's say we were winning every year. Would you then go, oh, we don't need to win every year?
I would after a couple times. I'd be like, okay, well then.
After 10 or 15 times.
No.
That's the real question.
I would say, then take my name off the ballot.
Why?
Let someone else have a shot.
If your show is outperforming and every other show, and you deserve that recognition, why not get it?
Well, then I've already received that recognition. I already have the Rondos sitting on my shelf.
But it's not for one show or 365 or whatever, 52 shows a year. It's for the 52 new shows you put out for that year. If you're it's not like the Svengoolie thing is he's doing new
like I said,
material.
if in my opinion, and if it were me, if it were a couple years in a row, that's awesome. But let's say it's like 5-10 years in a row, it's like,
oh, I'm so bored of winning these awards.
Well, then at that point it's like, thank you fans, but please take my name off the ballot.
Our new home is built out of Rondo awards. We won so many.
I have a Rondo fort.
But, I don't know. But that's how I try to think of it, too. Like, flip it around, and how would you feel? Would you be cool with it? Or I don't know.
Yeah, I don't.
But look, it's ultimately up to the creator of it. And
it's the creator who made that awards thing, and then to the fans who write in and vote.
And we've said it before, and we'll say it again. We are honored to be on the freaking list. That's pretty cool.
To even get that on the ballot is pretty cool. And
really
it is nice just to even have a handful of fans that say they voted for us. Just that little bit is nice. So it is a nice gesture. So we are appreciative of it. We're grateful for any recognition like that.
And it's nice to have something that does recognize all things horror in this niche type of thing that we're into. That I think hopefully it'll get bigger and bigger. Just the whole. I mean, horror is obviously a big category in general.
And maybe there'll be other horror awards. Yeah. Maybe other people might do that in the future with indie film or with horror hosting or podcasters. That would be nice to see, like other people doing little awards shows and ceremonies.
That would really be the thing is if somebody broke off and did like an indie horror awards. So it's just it's not because in the Rondos they have like the best films are like Hollywood films.
Some of them are Hollywood films. Some are independent. So it's kind of
compete there too.
Right. It's like a blended thing. So yeah. yeah, I understand that point.
So it could be maybe that would be on the horizon at some point where there'd be just, and that would, because I consider our show indie. I mean, we try to be professional, but it's all done independently.
Yes,
You know,
it's literally us.
Yes, it's you and I
doing the show.
And that's most horror host shows. It's just the host, their wife or their kids, or a friend of theirs, and whatever they use to film it on, and that's it. They do everything. They do everything.
If you don't have a television station backing you or have like a television crew, yeah, you are the crew.
Yeah.
You do it all.
Yeah, and so our hats off to everyone out there that does any sort of entertainment, specifically the horror host stuff. If you're doing something, and there's a lot of stuff I haven't done professionally that I wish I could do, like comic books and stuff like that. Drawing and writing comics, because that's a tough gig too. So I'm happy that we're doing something creative with the show. We are doing it. We're
whether we win an award or get nominated for an award or not.
It's not about that.
We have to. In my mind, I like to have a creative outlet.
Yeah.
And have always been that way. Even as a kid, drawing pictures or painting pictures, it was like, or making costumes for my Barbie doll.
And you know what?
Or making my own Halloween costumes or cosplay. I felt like I always wanted to work on something creative.
Yeah, and we are. And you know what? I think we are rewarded. All of us are rewarded that do stuff like this when we hear back from the fans that enjoy it.
That is so true.
That is that is reward enough for me. Because we do, and we all do, and we're speaking about everyone broadly when we say, when we get something like an email from a fan, or from their kids. Oh, our kids like watching you, and here that hits us, and we love to see that.
It's so sweet. And then when they ask, like when you do a birthday shout out,
those little things like that,
or they send a picture of they have a projector set up in their backyard and they're watching us on the projector.
All the way to maybe making someone feel like they should stick around a little longer. Those kind of things we get too.
We even had a few people tell us that we helped cheer them up when they were going through some dark times.
Yes.
When they were battling depression.
And other things.
And other things, yeah.
And I mean, what more could you ask for? I mean, that's something that you created, that we created, lots of people are watching and enjoying and get something out of it. And sometimes upset if we skip a week, or when are you going to be on? That's a lot. I mean, that's a reward. That's an award.
It means a lot. It melts our hearts. So thank you guys for listening, for watching, for writing us. It's really sweet.
Yeah, it's more than an award. It's not a reward. It's a reward.
To give, well, we're hopefully entertaining some people, and we find it very sweet that they even take the time to write or watch or listen. Yeah. So,
and again, we don't mean the royal we mean everyone out there doing this kind of entertainment. You sometimes you don't, and hopefully you do get to hear from the people that do enjoy it. However, you're hearing from your fans, and that's got to be reward enough. It is for me. I mean, that's all I really need. It means so much to me and so much to us. And again, I speak to all of...
That's priceless.
I think that goes for everyone out there that's doing the same thing. So, again, keep doing it. Everyone out there that's horror hosting and keeping the genre and the art alive, the art form alive, because it is an American art form. I consider like comic books.
Yeah.
It's an American art form.
Well, and even if you're not a horror host, if you have a podcast, a radio show, if you're a musician, an artist... Yeah,
well, that's not American, but
keep doing your art.
I'm not trying to be political here, or
keep doing your art.
I'm just saying
America.
The cool thing, but the cool thing is that it is sort of a unique to this.
Yeah, the horror film genre and the movie hosting on television all started here in America,
and then we share it with the world, and other people, and then we have fans, and a lot of us, and again,
fans all over the world.
I mean, everyone in this genre are finding that out too. Mm-hmm. There's one in particular from Japan who's a fan of all this stuff.
Yeah,
and boy,
we have a few fans in Australia too.
Yeah, and they seem to like all these different shows too that are horror hosted, so it's really
awesome.
Cool to have something,
how we can all be connected, and it's like, whoa, you live where? How'd you find us?
Yeah,
you're watching us? How cool.
So there's that too. So now with the internet, everything can be shared worldwide, globally.
Yeah.
And one day maybe Mars. I don't know what that means, but
outer space.
Anyway, so yeah, I think that's all I have to say about this particular. We can wrap up things if you want.
Let's wrap things up for now. Yeah. And thank you guys for listening. Tune in to our Friday night shows and check out our YouTube channel. We have a Monster Hustle playlist for behind the scenes eBay stuff. Mm-hmm. And good night, good fright. Mwah!
See you later, alligators.